will meet in regular session at 7 p.m. on April 13th, 2020. This meeting will be held electronically, and no quorum of the public body will be physically present together. There will be no public in-person attendance. There is a virtual link to this live stream of the meeting, and that link is available on fairburyjeffs.org website. An agenda for this meeting, kept continuously current, is available for public inspection upon request. Also, this meeting is still subject to the Nebraska Open Meetings Act, and we keep one copy of the Open Meetings Act posted in the meeting room here. It is also, a link to the Open Meeting Act is also posted on the fairburyjeffs.org website. All right, I will ask everybody in the room with me to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can I have a roll call, please?
Emke?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. She said yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I did not hear. Judd?
Present.
Milius?
Here.
Schwab?
Here.
Star?
Here.
And Winter?
Present.
Okay, that's everybody. So thank you all for joining in tonight. This is obviously an unusual circumstance and unusual format for our meeting, but we're going to plow through it the best we can. We're going to start with our consent agenda tonight, as usual. The items scheduled for the consent agenda can be removed and placed on the regular agenda at the request of one or more of the board members. Our consent agenda consists of the approval of the agenda, item 3.1, item 3.2, approval of the minutes of the March 18th, 2020 special board meeting, item 3.3, approval of the treasurer's report, claims, and monthly payroll, and item 3.4, approval of the resignation of Alex Edwards, Tom Scott, Jane Zabatrisky, Joe Fitzgerald, Colin Forkey, and Shelby Blecka at the end of the 2019-2020 school year. And I will move that, pardon me. I wanted to get this right. I will move that we approve consent agenda items 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, and 3.4 minus the Mid-States busing invoice in the bill list, which I would move to the action items.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Star. That was Star, correct?
Yes.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to state again that I do believe our turnover rate is pretty substantial.
Okay, anything else? Then we shall proceed to vote.
Judd?
Yes.
Milius?
Yes.
Schwab?
Yes.
Star?
Yes.
Winter?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Next, we're going to move to recognition of visitors and guests. Obviously, we have no visitors or guests present in the boardroom this evening, but I hope we have a lot on the live stream tonight. We are, of course, also not going to be able to take any public comments this evening. Okay, but we do have a few things in this part of the meeting agenda that we are going to take up tonight. And the first one is our recognition of the Jeff's Best Award winner for this month. And I know that the recipient of the award tonight is watching, is tuning in, and we have posted information about this award winner on fairburyrejeffs.org. I know that Josephine Blatney, our student school board representative, who has taken upon herself to prepare a video for each month's Jeff's Best Award winner, has prepared a video for us tonight too, but due to technical difficulties, we are unable to stream that, unfortunately. So we will post that video as well on the fairburyrejeffs.org website. But I do want to take this time to congratulate Mrs. Christy Peterson as the April recipient of the Jeff's Best Award. And Christy, we will be getting to you a certificate recognizing you as the recipient of this month's award, as well as thanks to Jill Davis, who made special arrangements to pick this up today, a $25 gift certificate to Stagecoach Mall, which I guess must be a place that you like to frequent. So, Christy, this recognition is bittersweet tonight because we know that you are retiring at the end of this school year and leaving us, and that makes us sad. It makes us sad as well that we can't have you here in person with your family and friends around you to give you this recognition as you deserve it. But things are what they are, I guess. So thank you all the same for your many years of service to this district and for going above and beyond on many occasions. And congratulations again, and we wish you all the best. So, everybody. All right, thank you. I'd also like to at this time share with the board a thank you card I got from Mrs. Trina Pettit, who was the recipient of last month's Jeff's Best Award. She writes to the Board of Education, thank you so much for the Jeff's Best Award and the gift certificate. I truly appreciate the positive recognition. I am so grateful to be in a position I love and hope that I continue to make a difference in the lives of our youth. Stay healthy. Thanks, Trina Pettit. So that was very nice of Trina to send us that. If anybody wants to take a look at it in person, I'll give it to Jill and she'll have it here at the office. Okay, I think are we gonna hear from Mr. Davis next? Is he on at all? He should be. Okay, so I think he's going to talk a bit about the academic all-state recipients for the winter sports. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Davis, the floor is yours.
All right. So academic all-state for our winter sports for swim was McQuenna Lehrman. For girls basketball, Sarah Huss and JL Johnson. For boys basketball, Chance Amundsen and Brett Cole. And for speech, Alex Buxton and Ethan Smith. We do have the opportunity this spring to go ahead and offer for a spring academic all-state award as well. That will allow our spring athletes, even though they didn't necessarily get to compete, it'll allow our spring athletes to be able to be recognized for their intelligence as well as being out for a sport or activity. There'll be a few more. I know I talked to Joe Fitzgerald today about district music. We'll have a couple other things on there then as well.
Okay, well, and again, we would like to give all of these student athletes a proper recognition here in person, but since we can't, we will just extend via the interwebs our heartfelt congratulations to them. Hope that some of them are watching tonight. We'll find a way to hopefully give them some further recognition down the road.
And their certificates and a letter were sent to their homes, so they currently have them already.
Okay, great. All right, Mr. Davis, thank you for that. And I think we're ready to move on then to the next item. Are we not, Mr. Grizzle? Okay. Our next item is information items. And we will start with the administrator reports. And first on my list here is Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson is with us, isn't he?
All right, just having problems getting that button to work. Let me click over here real quick. So most of the beginning of my report just has to do with the things the state has already put an end to in terms of testing and things like that. Working with Taylor right now on the scheduling. And then I also detailed some post-school closure COVID activities. One of the things on my agenda to bring up is our grading system for the fourth quarter will be a pass-fail system. All assignments will be at 2 points. They will be a 2, a 1, or a 0. 2 will represent that a student has learned the material. 1 will represent that they've done the assignment but not fully mastered all the material. And the 0 represents that the student has not done the assignment. At the end of the quarter, the teacher will look through the body of work, determine what the student has learned, and give a final pass or fail grade. And then all grades will be submitted with a final ruling on grades at my discretion. Then also, yeah, like you said, we do have some teaching here, looking at a few different applicants, closing in on some interviews. So remain fairly hopeful.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Anderson?
Will the juniors all be doing an ACT?
Well, we're still learning about that. There are some different options that have been thrown out on the table, which is a possible state gives a voucher to each junior to take it either in the summer, if that is feasible, or next fall. Nothing has been ruled on yet, but they're kicking around some different ideas. And when we know, we'll definitely start moving in that direction. Mrs. Beal and I will work on that immediately once we know.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Anderson, for that. And I think next is Mr. Davis.
Yeah. And my report started off with the academic All-State. We were able to get a couple practices in the spring, and then as you guys all know, the spring season was put on hold and then actually canceled. The NSAA has not given us any firm word on how this is going to affect any of the practices over the summer or anything going into fall. We did get a ruling from the NSAA that said that physicals, the only students that will have to have physicals coming in this next year are going to be incoming freshmen. As long as kids in other classes had a physical on record this previous year, it'll count for this next year. And that's just because of all the doctor's offices being full with the COVID-19. Obviously, big thing for me right now is scheduling all the contests for next year and making sure that that stuff is getting finalized. Pro Track and Tennis got a hold of me today. They were tentatively coming in on Saturday, and then they were going to come in on Monday, today, and they let me know on Friday of last week that one of their big machines had broke down and they weren't going to be able to get here quite on Monday then either. So right now they're going to call me tomorrow morning. They'll let me know what time they're going to show up tomorrow morning to get our state red track. New pole vault pits and standards should all be in. And like I said before, we're going to have an opportunity to nominate kids for academic all-state for the spring season. So I've got that rolling in. We are also working on our honors night and getting all of the various awards and plaques and things set up for honors night. I think Mr. Anderson and I are going to do it virtually as well, giving it with a Strive camera. And yeah, very, very different spring, that's for sure.
Okay. Mr. Davis, is Pro Track and Tennis going to have any problems with our current cold spell moving forward?
The first couple days they are going to be staging and prepping the track. So really there's going to be as long as the workers bring coats, they should be able to do what they need to do for the initial stages. It's once they actually start bringing in the structural spray itself, then they have to kind of watch the temperature. And so they talked about a 10 to 14 day window, and it all depends on the weather and how they can hit the weather. Hopefully it doesn't rain. I see Thursday now we're supposed to maybe catch some rain. So we'll have to continue to monitor the weather as well as what stage they're at.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Davis? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Grizzle, you're up next.
The only thing I wanted to talk about was the mid-state busing situation. I wasn't sure if we were going to have the information ready for tonight because we've been working on it all weekend and even all day today, but got that all squared away, so we'll be able to talk about that in detail when we get to the action item. Other than that, things have kind of settled into a pattern. I feel like things are going reasonably well. I've heard some good reports on some of the e-learning, and I've heard some challenges that we've had with some of the e-learning. We've been working with the provider companies to provide at least one of our families that had called and said they didn't have connectivity and didn't know how they were going to get the connectivity. We were able to match them with one of the providers, and I think they're on their way. So all in all, things seem to be clicking right along in our new normal.
Okay. I'd like to say, I guess, on the matter of the e-learning that obviously this is a huge challenge for our students and our teachers and other staff. But I've been very pleased with what I've seen so far at my home. I've got my daughter who's taking 3 dual credit courses this semester, and so those classes couldn't wait to pick up with structured learning. They have been really going on without much break at all since we shut down, and I know that I will catch her sitting in on the math class that she's in, which has just a few kids in it anyway. But Mr. Thompson is teaching that class, and I know that the first time they all got together on Google Meet, it was tough for all of them, especially for Mr. Thompson. I think he was really nervous about it, but he was a trooper and he got through it. And next time I saw them all getting together, he seemed a little bit more comfortable. And the next time he seemed that much more comfortable. And now it's just like you said, it's kind of the new normal. They're getting along fine.
And I think that's a good example of why we felt like it was important to have 2 weeks of review and enrichment so that teachers can kind of work out the kinks of delivery, work out the kinks of communicating with their kids back and forth. So we'll be ready for new learning this next week really well.
What does the K through, I mean, do they do it online or, I mean, kindergartners, first graders, second graders?
Well, each principal will give you an update on what's going on when we get to their point. But yeah, it's a little different in each of the buildings.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Grizzle? All right. Next, we've got Mr. Malloy.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so a couple of things I'd like to highlight. I know there was quite a few attachments that Jill Davis had included with my report this week or this month, but McKenna Bartles has accepted a 5th grade position at Jefferson. She'll be one of 2 new 5th grade teachers. So next year we will be at 3 sections per grade level. This year we are at 4 sections of 3rd grade and then 3 sections of 4th, 5th, and 6th. So our newly added 3rd grade teacher this year, Ashley Johnson, will also be moving to 5th grade as well. So both 5th grade positions have been filled. McKenna, she graduated from Meridian and lives in Dakin, is currently student teaching, was supposed to be full-time student teaching at the junior senior high here in Fairbury, but obviously that has changed. So she is but very thrilled at the opportunity to be here and is very excited. So I'd like to just say congratulations to her. Couple of the other things, we had 37 students that were able to be identified for the 2021 school year. So roughly 5% of the student population, which is fantastic. And I've already received quite a few letters back from families that they were mailed out with permission slips. So that's just a good celebration. And then grading for Jefferson, I included a rubric. It's fairly basic, but just to give teachers an idea, at the elementary level, at least in my building where we have 8, 9-year-old students that are on navigating all of this, sometimes without parents present, we really wanted to go with more of an effort participation type grade. So we're really looking at the how well students are completing the work and if they're turning it in, and if they're doing that to the best of their ability. And our hope is that we don't have many students that end up failing, especially at the intermediate school. So far we've had great participation, a few hiccups along the road. Students are kind of navigating this, and depending on how much support parents are able to offer. But that's what I have.
Jody, did you have something?
Yeah. How many, so we went from 4 sections in 3rd grade to 3 in 4th?
Yes, that's
So
right.
how many will that be per class?
Right now the 4 sections, they range from 14 to 16 kids. So it's fairly consistent with what 4th grade has this year. They're right around 70 kids. So it'll be a little over 20 per section, which is what 4th grade has been accustomed to. And we had added that 4th section this year because we thought that this class would really benefit from smaller numbers, just for a variety of reasons. And they really have done a really nice job. So we felt good about going back to 3 sections per grade level next year.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Malloy? All right. Thank you for that report. Mrs. Smith, you're up next.
Okay, on my board report, I referred to our numbers that are currently at Central Elementary School. And next year we will have 4-year-olds and 3-year-olds in preschool will have 3 classrooms morning and afternoon. The majority of our population are 4-year-olds, so that we will probably have all classrooms will be 4-year-olds except for possibly 1 or 2, because we had a really big number of 3-year-olds this year, which will return next year as 4-year-olds. So we're looking at having at least 4 classrooms of 4-year-olds and the rest 3-year-olds. In kindergarten, we'll have 3 sections of kindergarten. And in first grade, we'll have 4 sections of first grade. And in second grade, we'll have 4 sections of second grade. And looking at our packets that went home, the first set went home 2 weeks ago with review. And out of those packets, we only had 13 to 14 not picked up. So we delivered those 13 to 14 to the front doorsteps. And we're having a lot of packets be returned already. We had today was preschool and kindergarten picking up new packets. Tomorrow will be first grade and second grade. And also the youngest member in the family took the packet for the entire family up to second grade. So we had really good results the first time. We're hoping to have the same results this time or even more with parents picking up packets. They've really called and asked questions, and they also have called to get more material because they thought we needed to have more coming home. And I told them to be patient, that new stuff was coming out this week. So I think they're really excited to get started with their students. And teachers are doing a really good job in what we're doing at K-2 is K-2, they're learning new material, but most of the learning is in packets. But all the teachers are putting in skill part of instruction for reading. They're putting a small little snippet on Seesaw, a video. Some of them have YouTube and some of them are on Seesaw, doing a little introduction of their skill lesson so that the kids can hear the teacher give the skill lesson. And then also if there's a story, the teacher reads the story out loud, but the students also have the story at home. So they're getting it 2 different ways so that we could make sure that we were reaching all students. The way that we're changing our 4th quarter grades is participation or not participation. At K-2, we were already doing just a participation grade in the knowledge because it was new to us and they were just learning the story. So we were doing a participation grade. It had a rubric, which I attached to my board report. We are not going to do that rubric. We're just going to do participation or not participation because of the e-learning. And we thought that would meet the needs of all the families. And then depending on board approval tonight, I have a new teacher that has accepted the position. And that teacher is Andrea Happel. She will be joining the first grade team. And that's all I have.
Okay. Questions for Mrs. Smith?
Patty, are your numbers the same as far as sections go? You know, like you didn't have to add any sections to grades or whatnot?
Kind of switched. Last year we had 4 sections of kindergarten. So those kindergartners will be first graders, so they'll have 4 sections of first grade. We had 4 sections of first grade this year, only 3 of second grade. So they'll move up to 4 sections in second grade.
Okay. Okay.
Anything else? Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Mr. Grizzle asked to add something to his report, so we're going to go back to him before we finish up with the admin reports.
Okay, I wanted to highlight our lunch program. You know, we started our summer lunch program when we had the closure back in March. And the nice thing about the program is we've seen increasing participation almost daily. We started off with about 200 meals a day being produced and sent out. On Friday, we had 429, but really that's, you know, 858 because we sent two meals home for every student on Thursday because we had no school on Friday. So close to 900 meals went out on Friday. So Jane Ryan and her staff have done an amazing job. We're also, I would say, between consistently 5 to 10 adult meals that we're delivering to different places, to senior citizens that are having trouble getting out and about for meals. And so we're happy to help provide for that. And we've had some donations to help cover the cost of those. So all in all, pretty exciting stuff.
Okay. Anybody have any questions about that? All right, thank you for that addition. Last but not least, Dr. Timmons.
Okay, so I don't have a lot to add to my report, just highlighting that we'll talk about, we have one new hire, Krista Elber. We'll talk about that later on if the board approves it. And she will be replacing Johanna Meyer, who's replacing Brenda Beechler, who's retiring. And then we are in the process of still looking to replace Sarah Furrow. And Sarah is moving over to the Chance program because Odessa has, she's going to go on and do her student teaching to become a teacher for the visually impaired students. And we will certainly miss Odessa, but wish her well. She will be easy to hire. There's a big shortage in the TBI world, so that's good for her. And then we had talked a couple of months ago about some of our program updates. And so we have decided to go ahead with that move. We'll be moving Chance over to the Armory entirely. So all K-12 Chance will be there. ASP will be at the superintendent's building. And then our 7-12 Life program will move into the high school, which is really great for students so that they can be included more into the high school setting, just like any other high school student. So that's all I have.
Okay, questions for Dr. Timmons?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
As far as I think the inclusion program is great. Like you and Mr. Grizzle have said, you know, the best people to teach math are math teachers. Especially with the addition of the 3 larger science rooms, there should be enough room to accommodate all of the life kids as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that we had enough room between the 3 science classes plus the other ones to where there's enough room to fit everybody with the polls as well, correct?
I didn't hear that last word you said. With the what?
Right. There will be enough rooms to accommodate all of the life kids and also the sped kids without having to disrupt any other take any other classrooms, correct?
Well, Mr. Anderson and Mr. Grizzle have been working on that. There's one room that's used part-time. It's not a full-time classroom, and that was a special ed classroom last year. And I think that's probably a room that they will be looking at taking back. The room that Ann Kruger had will become the life skills classroom. And that's the room that's basically set up for life skills. But yeah, as far as room assignments, you know, that Mr. Grizzle and Mr. Anderson will certainly make those decisions.
Okay. I just want to make sure we had enough room for everybody.
Yeah, sure.
Anything else? Okay, Mr. Molay, did you want to say more at this point about the High Ability Learner program? I know you referenced it already, but you have attachments.
No, I'm ready. No, that's okay. I just wanted to, it was easier to have them submitted individually like that. Then I'll try to put those all into my board report, but it's just there for you to look at. So no, I don't have anything else to add unless anyone has questions about it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
We do have a report submitted by Josephine on student happenings. I'll just read it verbatim here. She says, "Hi everyone, I hope you are all doing well and staying safe. I don't have much to talk about, and you may have already covered these topics, but here are some events and discussions that have gone on since quarantine. First, postponement of graduation and prom. The senior class administration has decided to postpone graduation and prom in order to hold both of these events as we normally would. We have set 3 possible dates for graduation, which are June 28th, June 12th, or I'm sorry, July 12th, or July 26th. If none of these dates will work, then graduation will be held virtually in some way. Prom will hopefully be held at the high school on July 18th. There is discussion of hanging a curtain to cut the gym in half. One side would be for the dance, and one side would be for post-prom. Final decisions on both of these events will be made at a later date. Virtual honors night is on May 5th. I'm not quite sure how this will work, but my understanding is that it would be recorded through Strive. The senior parade. To honor the class of 2020, parents got together to organize a parade around town for the seniors. Parents, FPS staff members, friends, and community members gathered around town to cheer on their seniors. As a senior myself, I greatly appreciated this gesture and thought it was a fun way to make the best of a challenging situation. Thank you to the parents for organizing the event, the Kapke family for donating cookies, and the Bonham Theater for donating popcorn. And then finally, the matter of pass-fail. The second semester of school will be graded on a pass-fail system, meaning kids will either pass or fail their classes, but will not be given specific letter grades. The exception to this system will be the dual credit courses for high schoolers through SEC. And that's all Josephine had to say. So we'll move on to committee reports. And we had, which committees met since the last meeting?
Negotiations and building and grounds met.
That's right. Could we get a negotiations committee report from, is it Jody? Are you the president of that?
I think JC is.
JC is.
We talked about administrative salary increases, and those happen to be on our agenda later on. So I think I'll save the chat until then.
Okay, good report. And I will give the report for building and grounds, and I don't have much more than that because we only discussed at great length 2 matters, and those were the resurfacing of the track and the replacing of some doors at the high school. Both of those are also on the, well, I think that we've already passed the resurfacing.
Right.
Already approved that, but the doors project is on the action items.
And we also talked a little bit about the new projects on the horizon for next school year. Just highlighting some of those particulars. Just want to keep in mind, we don't have current plans for the central lunchroom project. They haven't been developed. We're only talking or using right now the conceptual drawings. So we just have one little picture of what central would look like. This summer is the time that the central lunchroom plans are being drawn up by the architects. So we don't really have any concrete things to put our hands on for the central portion. Related to that is the LB 974 progress. That's the property tax bill. Right now, that seems to be stalled with everything else in the legislature. They're on recess. Trying to think. They're set to come back, I want to say at the end of April. But right now, it doesn't seem like the bill is going to pass because it was built on excess funds. And we all know that with the coronavirus closings going on, commerce has pretty much ground to a halt, and we're not sure how much excess funds there's going to be. We haven't seen any new predictions yet, but word on the street with the senators, there's several more senators now are against the bill because they don't believe there's going to be excess funds to fund the bill. We may have normal revenue, but we won't seem to have excess revenue. And so that's what the bill was built on. So that's
Okay. Any questions for either of the committees? All right, we will move on to our action items this evening. And first is item 6.1, consider hiring Don Jobman as junior high math teacher, Krista Albert as elementary special education teacher. Oh, what?
Mid-States busing one. First.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too. I was looking at the printed agenda. My apologies. We're going to back up since we removed the mid-states busing bill out of the consent agenda. That will be our first item on the action items. So item 6.1 in the action items is to consider and take all necessary action in paying the adjusted mid-states school bus Inc.'s April invoice due to the coronavirus closure in the amount of $27,488.83, including the related addendum to transportation services agreement as presented.
I move to consider and take all necessary action in paying the adjusted Mid-State School Busing Incorporated April's invoice due to the coronavirus closure in the amount of $22,488.83, including the related addendum to the transportation service agreement as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Winter and a second by Ebke on this.
Do the stimulus dollars come to the school or to the busing company?
It's going to be a combination, we think. Basically, we're not supposed to be able to pay for services we don't get. However, the transportation contracts were singled out in the federal stimulus package. It was also singled out in the state package. And so what we're doing is we're doing a combination of things. We're working out a kind of a discounted bill for the remaining months of the school year. And if you look at the attachment, I can try and.
Well, and I think that's right with your, not paying for services rendered. But when, like I stated today to the transportation committee, when you're in a contract, that's a little bit different than paying an hourly, employee. Right. And Mid-States didn't cut the contract. So it's nice that at least they're going to get paid in full. But I mean, I do know there were other schools that were going to pay them in full before this stimulus thing came about.
I've been in close communication with Wilbur, Beatrice, and Thayer Central, and our attorneys on what we were going to be proposing for the Mid-States bill. If you noticed on our original consent agenda, the bill we were paying was like $43,000, which includes our regular routes, our special education routes, and activity routes. The activity routes are routes that were already done. So we'll be paying the activity route portion in full. The rest of the bill was going to be prorated because we stopped school midway through March. And so when you see on the screen, those are some of the discounts that they've calculated in based on the timing of things. So basically, the bill that I'm recommending that we pay today is this $23,522 number plus the activity amount, which was, I want to say, I don't have it in front of me, $3,900. So a total of about $27,000 as opposed to the $43,000. Now, in talking with Mid-States, they're going to be getting money that should bridge the gap between what we're paying and what the original bill was. We, on the flip side, may be getting reimbursement for a portion of the bills, but we don't know. We haven't seen anything. Our attorneys haven't seen anything. NDE hasn't given any guidance yet. So we don't really know for sure what that's going to look like. But this is a mutual agreed upon arrangement between us and Mid-States, and it's kind of the best of the situation, if you will.
So this is going to keep our bus drivers whole.
Our bus drivers, it's my understanding, have filed for unemployment, but it's my understanding they're going to be coming back in the fall when we're back open.
And the unemployment they're getting is just half of what they were getting. I mean, it's fine. It's nice we're, giving them some money. It's just at the last meeting when we raised their 6% contract and I brought it up, and Transportation Committee's comment was, well, there's no other bus place to go with. First student wouldn't come back or whatnot. I mean, I just want to be careful that you don't lose Mid-States and then all of a sudden, oh, guess what? You as a district, you got to go buy your own buses. That's
Right.
a lot more, $20,000 that we're saving.
And that's something that in our 5 o'clock Zoom meeting this afternoon with Wilbur and Thayer, Wilbur just went out to bid. I want to say this recently, and 2 other companies bid, and they were hundreds of thousands of dollars more than Mid-States. And so this is, I think, a win-win for us and a win-win for them. But that won't be known fully until all the dust settles.
If they get the stimulus dollars in a
Right.
reasonable amount
And
of
they
time
feel
to
pretty
stay afloat.
confident they are.
Okay.
They feel pretty confident they are.
Okay. Anything else, John?
No, I'm good.
All right. Then we will proceed to vote.
Judd,
Yes.
Amelia,
Yes.
Schwab,
Yes.
Star,
Yes.
Winter,
Yes.
Epke.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Now we will move on to hiring items. Next item is to consider hiring Don Jobman as junior high math teacher, Krista Albert as elementary special ed teacher, McKenna Bartles and Andrea Happel as elementary teachers for the 2020-2021 school year.
I move to approve hiring Don Jobman as junior high math teacher, Krista Albert as elementary special education teacher, McKenna Bartles and Andrea Happel as elementary teachers for the 2020-21 school year.
Second.
We have a motion by Milius, a second by Star. Is there any discussion? Okay, then we will proceed to vote.
Amelia,
Yes.
Schwab,
Yeah.
Star,
Yes.
Winter,
Yes.
Epke. Judd.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item is to consider granting the superintendent the authority to amend the district's grading practices during the 2020 COVID-19 school closure as needed.
I move to grant the superintendent the authority to amend the district's grading practices during the 2020 COVID-19 school closure as needed.
I second.
We know.
Sorry, Jonathan.
We had a motion by Star. Second, we'll give to whoever.
We'll go to JC. Tie goes with the runner.
Okay. Give it to Milius then. Discussion.
Basically, we just needed to be able to adjust our handbook policies on the fly with the closure. And so you heard each principal's discussion on the grading practices being taking place at the different schools. And so that's basically what we wanted to talk about. Primary focus is really kind of at the high school. And basically, and Mr. Anderson, you can jump in when you need to, but basically, second semester of the 2019-20 school year is going to be for credit. It's not going to affect GPA. So if you're a freshman, if you're a sophomore, junior, or even a senior, this semester is not going to lower or raise your GPA, but you'll be getting credits for the classes that you pass. And in talking with looking at different research, the method that we've chosen seems to be well regarded and appropriate for the times. Right now in the closure and e-learning situation, not all families have the same access, and so we've done as much as we can to level the playing field with access and those kinds of things. The grading is just the next step to make sure that we're being as equitable as possible.
Okay. Anything else? And we will proceed to vote.
Schwab,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Winter,
Yes.
Emke,
Yes.
Judd.
Yes.
Amelia.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. Next is to consider approving the sale of district property as presented.
I move to consider approving the sale of district property as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Winter, a second by Ebke. Discussion.
Basically, this is a list of some technology items that are no longer used, like Chromebooks and
Is there something else?
maybe some laptops, but mainly Chromebooks.
What, these go up on auction, or how do we get?
We get the word out. Brent has connections that he sometimes goes to. Otherwise, we put up on the website that we're looking to sell some stuff.
First come, first serve, basically. Okay. Anything else, John?
I just wanted to thank Brent for all go to waste or storage closet. So thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Mr. Essing. Anything else? Proceed to vote.
Starr,
Yes.
Winter,
Yes.
Emke,
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Amelia,
Yes.
and Schwab.
Yes. Motion carries. Next is item, I guess it'd be 6.5 now, to consider approving the following alternate dates for the 2020 graduation dates if our May 10th date is not acceptable, as presented. First choice, June 28th. Second choice, June 12th, which I did that again, didn't I? July 12th, which would also be a decision day on alternated graduation ceremony plans for July 26th if needed. And our third choice would be July 26th.
I move to approve the following alternate dates for the 2020 graduation dates if our May 10th date is not acceptable as presented. First choice, June 28th. Second choice, July 12th. Also decision date on alternate graduation ceremony plans for July 26th if needed. Third choice, July 26th.
I'll second.
Okay, you think Jody had it? Okay. Motion by Amelia, second by Starr. Any discussion?
Okay, we had a Zoom meeting or a Google Meet meeting with the seniors. Trying to think what Friday that was. That was week ago Friday.
Third, right?
Third,
Third.
Yep.
Had about over half of the kids present. So we talked about graduation plans. And one of the things I think it's important to note is I have weekly meetings with the commissioner, and the governor is on those meetings as well. And they're providing the guidance and parameters for graduations and things of that nature. We're hoping come summer that things are back to normal, but there's no assurances that by summer things are going to be back to normal. And so we felt like it was important to talk to the senior class and get their input on how to handle this unprecedented situation. And I got to say, I'm really proud of the way the senior class is handling this. I think of all the classes that I've experienced going through Fairbury, this class is by far handling it as well as any class could. They're a class act and they understand what's going on. They want to have a normal graduation. We want to give them a normal graduation. They want to have prom. We want to give them prom. I know that's easy for me to say because I don't sponsor prom, but Mr. Anderson assures me he wants them to have prom as well. So we're going to do everything we can to make sure those things happen. And so we felt like having 3 choices for dates and a roadmap to graduation was the most prudent way to approach it. If June 28th, we can have normal graduation, we should know fairly early in June if it could be normal. And so we'll know, I'm going to say 1st of June, we should know if we're going to be able to do it on June 28th. If not, we'll make the announcement. It's not going to be June 28th. We'll move it to July 12th. Same thing. If we can't have normal graduation by July 12th, then we'll move it to the July 26th. The thing to keep in mind is we're going to have to develop a plan B in case July 26th comes and we can't have normal graduation. We've thrown around some ideas, but what we will do is between now and July 12th, we'll be getting together with the senior leadership team again, and we'll hammer out the particulars of what that alternate graduation would look like. So whatever we do, we want it to be as normal as possible, and we want to provide our seniors as much opportunity for the recognition and the experience as we possibly can. So that's the point of this motion.
Any other discussion? Oh, John, did you have something?
Oh, no, I was just ready to vote.
Oh, okay.
You know you're
up first, huh?
okay. Proceed to vote.
Winter,
Yes.
Emke,
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Millius,
Yes.
Schwab,
Yes.
and Star.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Our next item is to consider approving the quote from Fairbury Glass for the replacement of doors 7, 9, and 14 at the high school for $26,926 using depreciation funds as presented.
I move to approve the quote from Fairbury Glass for replacement of the doors 7, 9, and 14 for $26,926 using depreciation funds.
I second it.
We have a motion by Star, second by Winter. Is there any discussion?
Okay, these are the doors that are on the north side, on either side of the auditorium. I believe 7 is in between the gym and the BFAC, and 9 is between the BFAC and the band room. And then 14 is the east door by the shop area and Mrs. Peterson's classroom. All of those doors have had issues and they need to be replaced.
Anything else?
Those are the last of the 89 glass doors, correct?
Correct.
There's nothing else. We'll.
Oh, Jody?
You're
Just ready to vote again.
okay. Eager beavers. Okay.
We will proceed to vote.
Emke,
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Milius,
Yes.
Schwab,
Yeah.
Yes.
Star,
Yes.
and Winter.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. Our next item is to consider approving the quote for concrete work around the pole vault pit from Vaughn Construction for $4,965 using depreciation funds as presented.
I move to approve the quote for concrete work around the pole vault pit for $4,965 from Bond Construction using depreciation funds as presented.
I'll second it.
I'll second.
Oh, nice try, Angie. We have a motion by Star, a second by Winter. Is there any discussion?
What we're doing basically is taking our pole vault pit and adding a perimeter of 3 feet extension of concrete around that to give us a little bigger area for our workers when we're doing track meets, and to provide a better space for all the padding and standards and all that kind of good stuff.
Okay, anything else? We will proceed to vote.
Judd,
Yes.
Milius,
Yes.
Schwab,
Yes.
Star,
Yes.
Winter,
Yes.
and Emke.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Next item, last action item is to consider approving the administrative salary increases for the 2020-21 school year of 2.5% as presented.
I move to approve the administrative salary increases for the 2021 school year of 2.5% as presented.
I'll
I
second.
second.
We'll give a motion to Star, second to Ebke. Discussion?
Yeah. I do want to say that I do appreciate the negotiation committee putting together the complete packages in our array so we can compare apples to apples. I do appreciate that. I'm also glad to see that our admin team is close to, if not above midpoint. I do hope now that we can work to move our certified staff up from the bottom of the array to help with competitive hiring and retaining faculty as well.
Okay, anything else? We will proceed to vote.
Milius,
Yes.
Schwab,
Yes.
Star,
Yes.
Winter,
Yes.
Emke,
Yes.
and Judd.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Moving on, we will set our next board meeting time and date. We have, first of all, proposed Committee on American Civics public hearing set for May 11th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. here in the 47 Building Conference Room, 703 K Street, Fairbury, Nebraska.
I move to set the American Civics public hearing on May 11th at 6:30, hopefully at the 47 Building Conference Room.
I'll second it.
We have a motion.
We have a by Star, second by Winter.
Discussion, obviously.
Discussion obviously would include at that night meet in person. We will do pretty much the same thing as what we're doing now, I assume.
And we've already had kind of
Trying to remember if we have to, and Derek, maybe you can refresh my memory. We only are required to have one of those meetings have public input, and we've already done that at the April meeting.
Correct.
So it may be,
Well, it's 2 every 6 months, but since we with the way it worked this year, we only needed to do one this calendar school year.
okay. So if we have to do a virtual like we did, we can.
If there's nothing else about that, we'll proceed to vote.
yes.
Star.
Yes.
Yes.
Winter,
Yes.
Becky, Judd,
Yes.
and Melinda.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Motion carries. And then following that committee meeting, that public hearing of the American Civics Committee, we propose a regular meeting on May 11th, 2020 at 7 p.m. Hopefully again here in the 47 Building Conference Room, 703 K Street, Fairbury.
I move to set our next regular meeting for May 11th at 7 p.m. at the 47 Building Conference Room.
Second.
Okay, we had a motion
By MK, second by Star. Any discussion on that?
And again, if we're still under the directed health measures, we will have to do the meeting like we did tonight.
Oh,
No problem.
oh,
We got all figured out.
Yeah. I hope.
Anything else? We will proceed to vote then.
Star,
yes.
Winter,
Yes.
Emke,
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Milius,
Yes.
and Schwab.
Yes.
Yeah.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Okay, I would like to thank everybody who attended tonight. This is a little on the stressful side, but again, we made it through okay. I'd also like to, before we adjourn, thank all of the administration, certified staff, classified staff, for everything that they're doing to keep things running during this difficult time. I wouldn't want to be in your shoes. Being a school board member is nothing right now compared to what you're doing. So thanks much. And yes, thank you again to Mr. Essing too for everything that he's done to help keep things going, because he's in many ways probably got the toughest job of all right now. So, okay, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thanks again, everybody. Whew. No, I think he's closed it. It's still showing live, so I think you need to shut something off now.